Prehistoric giants, other than dinosaurs. What giants lived long ago? Many prehistoric animals other than dinosaurs were giants. There were other giant reptiles as well as giant species of shellfish, insects, centipedes, fish, amphibians, birds, and mammals. There was even a giant ape, almost like King Kong. Scientists called paleontologists learn about prehistoric animals from fossils. Remains are tried species of animals such as bones. Paleontologists can use the fossils to learn when and where an animal lived, how big it was, what kind of food it ate, and how it moved. Scientists divide Earth's history into several different periods of time. These periods are grouped into different eras. The chart of page 15 shows in what periods of eras animals in this book lived. Get ready to jump into your imaginary time machine and enjoy your prehistoric journey with giants. Giant invertebrates. Set your time machine to the Paleozoic era to see some giant invertebrates, animals without backbones. Some fly through air and others swim in the oceans. Camarasaurus, scariest shellfish. In 470 million to 440 million years ago, and all animals lived in the ocean. You see Camarasaurus, a giant squid-like shellfish. Its head and 8 tentacles stick out of the cone-shaped shell, which might grow as long as 36 feet, 11 meters. Camarasaurus hunts sea animals by grabbing them with its tentacles and using its sharp beak to tear them into pieces. Meganeura, dangerous dragonfly. If you travel more than 100 million years forward in time, you'll probably end up in a swampy forest. About 311 million to 282 million years ago, a giant dragonfly swooped down Meganeura, is bigger than most birds you know. It has a wingspan of 2.5 feet, 76 centimeters, making it the largest insect ever known. The air is heavier than you're used to because there is more oxygen in it. This heavy air helps support the weight of the giant flyer. The extra oxygen also allows Meganeura and other animals to grow to a different giant size. Arthropoda, biggest bug. Crawling towards you along the forest floor is Arthropoda, the largest land arthropod ever. It looks like a 60-legged centipede, and it can grow longer than 8 feet, 2.5 meters. It lives in swampy forests between 340 million and 280 million years ago. It also grows so large because the air is heavy with oxygen. Giant fish and amphibians. Next, you'll see some giants that live during different periods of Mesozoic era. You might want to bring your snorkel as you head out to sea. Leadictus, largest fish. Leadictus is the largest fish that ever lived. It can grow almost 55 feet 16.8 meters long in the seas of 165 million to 155 million years ago. Leictus gulps with huge mouthfuls of water as it swims. At the back of the fish's mouth are more than 40,000 long. The teeth, these teeth act like a screen to hold shrimp, jellyfish, and other small animals when Leictus blows the water out. This is called filter feeding. Many whales eat this way back in your time. Leictus will eventually become extinct. One possible reason is because seas become lower and smaller. Smaller seas will mean less food for the giant fish to eat. Colossus, slimy giant. Skip ahead 40 million and 60 million years further into the Mesozoic to see Colossus is a slimy giant salamander, about 17 feet long with a wide flat head that lives in swampy forests. 137 million to 112 million years ago. Its big head holds more than 100 long teeth, which is uses to capture fish, crabs, turtles, and other prey. Colossus has eyes on the top of its head. This allows it to bury itself in muddy water while keeping watch of prey. Colossus and other giant amphibians will disappear. A change in climate will cause them to become extinct. Giant reptiles. During the Mesozoic era, while dinosaurs walk on Earth, other giant reptiles swim in the ocean. They are just as gigantic as some dinosaurs and just as deadly. Symbiospondylus, fish-like reptile. Symbiospondylus lives 240 million to 210 million years ago, when it is one of the largest animals in the sea at 33 feet long. Symbiospondylus has a huge head with a long, pointed snout. Its jaws contain many rows of small teeth used for catching and holding fish and other animals that it hunts in deep waters. Liopleurodon, T-Rex on the seas. Travel forward in time, but stay in the ocean if you dare. The reptile Liopleurodon swims in these salty waters. Liopleurodon can use its large, powerful jaws to kill any animal in the sea. Short-necked Liopleurodon lives 160 million to 155 million years ago. It can grow up to 49 feet long. Alamosaurus, long-necked hunter. If you go swimming between 85 million and 65 million years ago, you might not even notice Alamosaurus, even though it grows as big as 49 feet, almost just the length of its neck and tail. Alamosaurus can keep most of its body far away from the fish it hunts. Its long neck allows it to sneak up under a school of fish without the fish knowing there is a giant under them. Ornithocheus, flying reptile. In the sky, you can see Ornithocheus, a flying reptile that lives near sea coasts and lakes from 140 million to 70 million years ago. Ornithocheus has a wingspan up to 40 feet and a body that's and a body about 11.5 feet long. Although it is gigantic, it probably weighs only about as much as you do. That's because its bones are hollow, which helps it fly easily. Large groups of these giant flyers build nests off cliff tops. Giant birds. You can easily spot huge fireless creatures known as terror birds. Gastronus, a ton of terror. In the forests and swamps of 56 million to 41 million years ago, you'll find Gastronus, a bird about 7 feet tall. It is probably one of the top predators in North America and Europe since dinosaurs extincted its time. Modern scientists are not sure what this terror bird eats, but its sharp, powerful beak could easily rip the flesh and crush the bones of small animals if it can catch them. Gastronus may weigh more than 1 ton. Phororhacus, speedy and deadly. Phororhacus is a terror bird that stands up to 10 feet tall. It hunts small animals in plains and woodlands from 29 million to 2.5 million years ago. Phororhacus can move much faster than Gastronus because it doesn't weigh as much as that earlier terror bird. Phororhacus may be able to run after its prey at 43 miles per hour faster than a car usually travels down a city street. Giant mammals. After the extinction of the giant reptiles, giant mammals began to rule the world. Many scientists believe terror birds went extinct later in the Cenozoic era because mammals were better hunters. They ate all the food. The giant mammals you are about to see are herbivores, meaning they only eat plants. Dino-sized rhino. Climb a tree and get a good look at Indrogothrerium, a relative of today's rhinoceroses. This giant mammal uses its long neck and a giraffe does to eat leaves and branches at the tops of trees, living for 30 million to 25 million years ago. Indrogothrerium is at least 50 feet tall, bigger than a one-story house, and it weighs 16 tons. Gigantopithecus, the real King Kong. Gigantopithecus is a real giant ape that lives from about 8 million to 100,000 years ago. Some males stand 10 feet tall on their hind legs and weigh more than 1,000 pounds. Females are the half of this size. Gigantopithecus is a gentle giant. It eats bamboo, fruit, seeds, and other plant food in tropical rainforests in Asia. While you're here, you might even spot an early type of human called Homo erectus, who's living at the same time and in the same place as Gigantopithecus. Mammothus, woolly mammoth as a review, and its relatives. Time to move forward again to between 4 million to 10,000 years ago. During the last ice age, you catch a glimpse of woolly mammoth, the species of Mammothus. It looks like a huge hairy elephant with long curved tusks. It uses its tusks to clear paths through snow, probably to search for plant food. The woolly mammoth stands almost 12 feet tall, but all other mammoth species can grow as tall as 14 feet. Mammoths will become extinct at the end of the Ice Age, when the weather becomes too warm for them. Megatherium, giant ground sloth. Another huge mammal lives during the last Ice Age. It's Megatherium, a giant ground sloth. It lived about 2 million to 8,000 years ago and is almost 20 feet long. Megatherium is related to the much smaller tree sloths that live in South America today. Fossil footprints found in your time show that it could stand and even walk up straight. Time to start heading back. A world without giants? Isn't it amazing to think giants such as ones in this book once walked on Earth and swam in the ocean? It's too bad we can't see these huge creatures today. However, you can see many other giant animals today. Unfortunately, many of these animals are threatened by extinction because their populations are so small. It's important to protect these animals, mainly by preserving their habitats. That way we can be sure that we'll never live in a world without giants.